Hey guys, so as you know, on my course at beginnerabletonlessons.com, I've got 3 courses. I've got the beginner course, the advanced course, and then my mixing and mastering course. The mixing and mastering course will help you take a track and make it sound really professional. In this week's video, I'm going to share with you the first lesson from my mixing course, which is organizing your file. There's some absolutely awesome tips in here, and I'm really excited about sharing this lesson with you. Hope you guys enjoy it. Boof. Okay guys, so the first step to making a good mix is being organized with your file. In this video, I'm going to be running you through how I choose to organize my music files, and I would recommend you either use this approach or come up with your own approach. Now I have to put a quick kind of disclaimer in there, which is there's going to be a slight overlap here from my intermediate course where I kind of told you about my template I use and everything about it. I'm not going to go into it in as much detail, so if you're watching this and you haven't watched my intermediate course and you're like, actually I'd like to know more about the templates, you can go and check out my intermediate course. So I just wanted to kind of put that little disclaimer in place. So here's why it's important to organize your files. The main reason is, eventually, a couple of years down the line, you're going to have hundreds of files. And it is so frustrating going back to an old project, opening it up, and not having a clue where everything is. Because when you're going through and you're making music, you'll just be adding stuff here and there and everywhere. And while you're working on the file, you'll be able to quickly get to that sound that you want. So if you hear that one plucked lead that you put in, you go, oh yeah, I remember that was towards the top of the project, or yeah, that one's down at the bottom somewhere, it's over there, I remember because I've been working on this for the last couple of weeks. However, when you come back in 2 years' time, you'll be spending hours trying to decipher the messed up code of where on earth everything is. Having a structure to your files will mean that whenever you need to get to a certain sound, you will have a structure in place which will allow you to get to those sounds quickly and efficiently. And even though this is like such basic advice, it is such good advice. Like as soon as I started doing this, I feel so frustrated now when I go back to old projects that haven't been ordered like this, because I'm like, oh damn it, why didn't I do that? It would have been so much easier had I been doing that. The other thing is, it will just generally speed you up over time. Having all the lanes in place, having everything just color coded, will mean you'll just be instantly and quickly be able to get to the file. So for example, if you ever got to a point where you were mixing and mastering other people's songs for them, I would recommend taking all the stems, putting them in and figuring out where they all need to be within your template. So if you've got several people's projects going on at once and one of them goes, oh, you know, we like the mix, but could you make the drums a bit louder? You can open up the file, you know where to get to the drums quickly, you can make it done, you can get it done quickly and efficiently and send it back to them. It's just efficient, it's so good. So there's my little rant about organizing your files. Okay guys, so let me show you my file and how I tend to organize everything. I tend to have my percussion and stuff at the top. I have one group for a kick drum up here, which kind of is broken into several different groups. I have one category for the top kick, which is just like the little snappy bit of every kick. I have one section for my main kick, and I have 2 lanes for ghost kicks, which I put these in a lane because I have 2 lanes at the top, which are kind of return lanes for side chaining. One lane is there for avoiding the full kick, and one chain is there for avoiding just the snap of the kick. So they're kind of different length side chains. And as I go through, it becomes really easy for me to just route different tracks in my file through these different lanes up here, so they can have different length side chains, and it kind of glues all the sounds together if they're all going through the side chains, through the same side chain. It's also really efficient on your CPU if you've just got everything running through 2 side chains rather than adding side chains to every different sound. And you can kind of have as many of these as you want. You can have a short side chain, a slightly longer side chain, a really long side chain, a really sweeping side chain, which you may use for like white noise, so you've got that sound. I'm not going to go into tons of detail in it because I've covered it in my intermediate course, but these 2 lanes here are just ghost kicks that set off these the compressors here, the side chains here. So when I route stuff through, these are being set off by these 2 ghost kicks here. That's great as well, because it means if my drum is not just a 4 on the floor beat and it's like a kind of hip hop, the kick doesn't have to be for my side chains to work, because these ghost kicks will take whatever beat I end up using, or whatever kick I've got, and side chain them perfectly. Cool. So I've got that. Then I've got my percussive sounds here, which is things like hi-hats, claps, audio, snares, and just all my little percussive instruments, which I always try and label as well, so I've got them all in one place. Another thing you'll notice is I make them all the same colour as well, so at a glance, after a while you'll know yellow is percussive sounds. You can just go and open up your percussive sounds. So I have those 2 at the top because they're just kind of relevant. I kind of feel like they're the base of every track is kick and percussive sounds. I've obviously got a clap here, not in that group, but it's yellow. Then I've got my bass sounds here. I always kind of have that relatively close to my kick, because there's a kind of relationship between kick and bass, which I'm going to go into in more detail later in this course. So in here I've got all my kind of bass sounds. I've got 2 bass layers here, so if I ever need to kind of group layers, group different lanes, and there's 2 of them, I'll still make them the same colour. Then I've got all my synth sounds, so I know I can come in here. So if I've got a kind of synth sound playing, I can just go in and grab it, know where it is. I've got vocals here where I keep all my vocals. And then I've got all my white noise down here, which is just sirens, white noise, any kind of sparkly, glittery kind of effects, anything like that. And they're all in there. And this, by the way, is also a template that I use when I'm starting a project. But like I've said, I cover that more in my intermediate course. So, first thing that I would do, if you were to get stems from someone else's project, or even if your project is a mess right now and you want to do mixing and mastering really well and efficiently, I would spend some time putting them into this kind of structure like this, ordering it, color coding it, and having it all really neat. You don't have to do this, but it's so efficient and so easy. It's also going to help when it comes to me running you through how I mix, because when I actually end up mixing the song, I go into this mode here where I've got all these different volume levels here, and I literally move across. That's how I would do it. I start with the kick, then I move on to the percussion, then I move on to the bass, and I move across in this order, bringing these different elements in. So it would be good for you to do that if you were to follow along with this course. So the other tip I wanted to give you is to remove any audio clips or sections of audio clips or MIDI clips that are just not doing anything. So sometimes if you're remixing a song, or someone sent you a song to mix and master, they'll send you all the different lanes, and every lane will be the exact length of the song, so they're all just layers. So you'll have something going on every lane at all points. This song, for example, here was a remix I did, and all of these vocals were all just full-length vocals. The audio clip ran the entire way across the song, even though it was only singing in parts. Now, when there's a clip, when your kind of line is running over a clip, it adds to your computer's CPU, and it also just makes it hard to visually see where everything is. So what I would tell you to do is go in and remove any sections where there's nothing going on. So here, if I were just to solo these vocals, you can hear there's vocals going on here. Now, okay, that other vocal's coming down here, but if I was to solo this track, there's nothing going on here. But believe it or not, this clip is adding to my computer CPU right now, and it really doesn't need to be. So what you can do is just deactivate that clip. So you would kind of click Apple E on a Mac, solo out the bit that isn't doing anything. You could either remove it like that by just deleting it, or select it and make it 0 like that, or click 0, and what it does is deactivate it. Now, I would recommend going through the entire song and removing any sections that are silent and they're not doing anything. It's good for your computer CPU, and it's good for organizational stuff. It means when I need to find a vocal, I can visually see where the vocals are in the song. So if it's at the beginning here, I can zoom in and go, well, it's going to be one of these sounds here. Even sections like this, you can come in and you can say, well, that reverb tail is pretty much silent past this point here, so I'm going to click that, click here, and just remove that section there. And it's just good, it's just a good little habit to get into, so your project file is just clean. Again, it can come down here, there's another example, so you can see this stuff going on here. But there's nothing going on here, so I could remove that. I could get this section here where there's just nothing going on, I can just remove that. And it just cleans up the file and makes it really neat. You can see down here there's more sections I could potentially be getting rid of. And I would urge you to go through and do exactly this with your project files as well. Removing any sections where there's just nothing going on. And also be careful, sometimes there's tails like this. It doesn't look like there's anything going on, but if you just solo them, there is slight reverb. So make sure you leave those tails in for now. Click E like that, go back and just remove this section here. Cool, so there we go guys. That would be my first top tip for you. Just go through, clean up your file, get rid of anything that doesn't need to be there, color code everything, and use the same structure with every single song you do. It will be so good for you, and you'll look back one day and you'll be so thankful that you did it this way. It'll save you so much time and so much frustration. Cool, so there's lesson number 1 in my mixing course. So there we go guys, there's some top tips in that video there, and if you want to see the rest of that course, make sure you go to beginnerabletonlessons.com where you can download the rest of that mixing and mastering course. If you like this video, make sure you comment, like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more videos exactly like this. See you guys next week. Ciao!